This video is for the man who is feeling worthless in his life, who's feeling valueless in his life. In fact, he may be believing that other people in his life don't value him, that friends don't call, that lovers don't reach out, that kids are in their own worlds, and that somehow their behavior means something about him. Now, look, we can have people in our life who just don't know how to be in relationship with us. They don't know how to express themselves. Their time management is off. Their priorities, their focus are pulled to other places. But that doesn't mean that we're valueless. It doesn't mean that we're worthless. Now, we may have experienced some things in our childhood, in our life, that really made us feel valueless, made us feel worthless. Maybe we were in some situations where we weren't really sure how someone could value us and do the things that they did. I know growing up, I had an alcoholic mother, and her behavior seemed very odd. It seemed, that she loved me, she cared for me, she took care of me, but then she did things that just seemed out of alignment with that. That seems like if she really cared for me, if she really loved me, why would she do these things? And as a child, we can come up with reasons, solutions to those problems. We can come up with answers that aren't necessarily complete. We can agree to things that aren't necessarily true. And we don't have all of the information. We don't have all of the context. There's this psychological principle in child development that says children are excellent receptors and poor interpreters, meaning they take everything in, but they don't have the life experience, the context to know what everything means. And because our brain is a meaning-making machine, what it does is it comes up with an answer that seems logical to us, that somehow we did something wrong, that we're bad, that we're not worth loving, that we're not worthy of. And we just agree to that. We kind of quietly agree to it because we need an answer for the thing that's happening around us that we don't really truly understand. And we'll carry that belief forward in our life and agree to it in a bunch of different ways, by agreeing to things that we don't want, by spending time with people who don't really value us, by spending time with people who just have their own life and have their own priorities and don't seem to communicate well or be in relationship well. It doesn't even mean anything about us. It just means that they've got something going on and that we don't really like the experience of how they're being. So what we've got to do is let go of this idea. Stop agreeing to this idea that someone else has our value and worth in their hands, that somehow their behavior can dictate and mean something about our value and worth. We take ownership, self-ownership of our choices and of our life. And if we find ourselves spending time with people that we don't enjoy the experience of, we don't enjoy their way of being, we don't enjoy the way they interact in relationships, then we just don't spend time with them anymore. This is us putting ourselves at the head of the line in terms of valuing ourselves. We want everyone else to do things for us. We want everyone else to value us, to love us, to care for us, to respect us, to appreciate us. But guess what? We have to get in line first. We have to go first. We have to show them what it looks like to value us. And that means that we have to value ourselves enough to not agree to the things that are going on in our life that we don't like, that we don't want more of. And it also means that we have to stop agreeing to, stop believing that this is true, that somehow we are valueless, that we are worthless. Our brain is such an incredibly powerful computer that if we tell it, if we agree to, if we say, yep, I guess that's true, then our brain will look for signs to prove what we believe, what we've told it. And it's called confirmation bias. It's one of these things where we filter out, focus on the things that we tell our brain, and it'll say, okay, here's all the reasons why that's true. So what we've got to do is we have to have a better story. And if you need a book, if you need something to read, I highly recommend Loving What Is. There's a book out there by Byron Katie where she says in the book, she asks 4 questions. Is that true? Can you know that for sure? What does believing that, what is life like if you believe that? And what it would be a better story? What would be a better belief? So we have to do this for ourselves. Anytime we're hanging out with somebody and we don't like the way that they're being, If we have a story that says somehow their actions mean something about us, we have to stop and say, hold on, is that really true? And can I know that for sure? And how does it affect me to believe this, right? How does it affect how I feel about myself, how I feel about my life, how I feel about my relationships, and what would be a better story? Wouldn't it just be better to say, you know what, this other person has a whole lot going on, and they don't seem to want to reach out and spend time with me. So that doesn't really mean anything about me. It just means that I don't really like spending time with this person. I'm going to spend time with people who do like to reach out and who do call me and who do want to do things together. Who do. And that's where I'm going to spend my time and attention. And that's how I'm going to value me, because I value me. I know my value. I know my worth. And I don't just throw it around. I don't just give it away to people who can't appreciate it and who aren't either willing or capable of doing so. And so that's what I have for you to do today. I have some notes here, but I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say. If you are feeling worthless, if you're feeling valueless, and you need to talk to somebody about that, you need to unravel that hairball for yourself, reach out to me. And we can figure out the BS story behind all of that and unravel that hairball so that you don't have to live there anymore. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to walk around agreeing to this idea that somehow you're valueless and worthless. I got to tell you, if you're here, if you exist, you are valuable. You are worthy. And that's the truth. All right, that's what I have for you today. I'll talk to you later.